You know, I love podcasting. I have since 2006, back when you had to use like a Dixie cup with string to make the thing work. And that's why I'm so excited that we recently moved Mysterious Goings On to Anchor FM to record our podcast. I gotta tell you, I don't regret it a bit. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Not going to lie to you, when I first heard about Anchor, I was a little dubious because I've been doing it the hard way for so long. But I got to tell you, it's very easy. Use a Stripe account. Get sponsors. You're not paying monthly hosting fees. The sound quality is great. The distribution is phenomenal. Friends, download the free Anchor app today if you want to start your own podcast, or go to anchor.fm to get started. Remember, you heard it here first on Mysterious Goings On. Welcome to Mysterious Goings On. I'm J. Alexander Greenwood, and as usual, call me Alex. That's a mouthful. I keep talking about telling you why I have that lengthy pen name. Maybe this would be a good time to do it. All right, I'll tell that story real quick, but stay tuned after the quick story. We're going to talk a little bit about reviews and why indie authors in particular practically beg for them. Did I say practically? Why indie authors beg for them. J. Alexander Greenwood. Okay, just to be clear, my full legal name is Jason Alexander Greenwood. Okay, I went by Jason for the first 18 years of my life. Got to college one day, your first day of college, the professor says, okay, I'm going to read your name. If you go by a different name, just tell me. And it was so weird. He said, Jason Greenwood, and I said, that's Alex. And I had a couple of friends who went to high school with me who knew me as Jason, just looked at me like I was an alien. But I had just decided that I really didn't ever cared for the first name, and I think I was also just trying to make a clean break from a lot of things in my life, and so I went by my middle name, and so there you have that. So let's fast forward to me getting out of college and taking my first big job at a newspaper. It was the Tulsa World newspaper. Pretty big paper for Oklahoma. It's probably the second largest paper in Oklahoma. And I was a beat writer, doing obits and stuff like that. But anyway, long story short though, before I even did many obits, I got asked to do a feature story. It was the first story I turned in, and it got a byline on the front page. I'm not kidding, I still have it. It just never happens. It's like your first story with a byline is on the front page of one of the largest newspapers in your state. It was a dream come true. Well, I just remember being really excited when the editor told me, and I remember the editor, his name was Ralph Marler, I believe that was his name. I don't know if he's still around, but he was this crusty old guy who's right out of central casting for a newspaper editor. He looks at me and goes, Greenwood, what's your pen name? I was like, my pen name? He goes, well, what do you want? How are we going to do this? You're getting a byline. What do you want? Just going to stick with you now. And I go, I don't know. He goes, well, let's see, what's your name? And I said, well, my full name is Jason Alexander Greenwood, but I go by Alex. And he goes, why don't we, hey, I got an idea. And he types in J. Alexander Greenwood. And I thought it was pretentious as shit, but, I wasn't going to say anything because I was kind of afraid of this editor. And I think he thought it was a joke. And I just said, okay. And from then on, there it was. It stuck. And, I don't know, I built some equity with that name as a writer here like almost how many years later, 25 plus years later. So I just don't know if I'm ever going to really change it. So there's the story. Yeah, that editor, he was something. Didn't stay at that job real long. That town, I was with I had a relationship that ended, and the town was not big enough for the both of us, so I didn't stay at that job long. But it's too bad. It was a great job. I remember the last day I was there, one of the kindly editors pulled me aside, and I don't know, just to kind of twist the knife, said, we really have big plans for you. It's a shame you're leaving. We were thinking you were going to be our next entertainment reporter. And I'm just like, crap. Because back in the day when newspapers mattered, the entertainment columnist and reporter, you got to go on junkets, you got to do things, it would have been a tremendous, tremendous job, and I blew it. Wow, told you more than I thought I would. Okay, let's talk about reviews. If you're listening to this, you're either a writer or a reader, or both. And if you're a writer, you know that it is the excruciating task to try to get readers to write a brief Amazon or Barnes & Noble or iBookstore review. Rather than me free associate here and go through it, I found this great post by Sandra Smith. She's an author on Facebook. I'm giving her credit. It's at authorsmith.com. She wrote it June 13th of 2014. It's called Posting Reviews for Your Indie Authors. And I'm just going to skim this, and I hope Sandra, I don't know Sandra, I hope she's not mad at me if she finds out I did this, but I'm giving her full credit. So go visit her, again, authorsmith.com. Why reviews are important. When a potential buyer goes to an author's books Amazon page, so if you go to my Amazon page for J. Alexander Greenwood, that's where you actually have to call me J. Alexander Greenwood, one of the first things he or she does is look at the star rating and the number next to it, number of reviews. The higher the number, the more likely the trust in taking a chance on a new book he or she hasn't heard much about. So that's called social proof. And then 2, most advertising sites that authors turn to require a certain amount of reviews be posted before they'll even accept the book for advertising. BookBub, which she says is the mother of all book advertisers, is very hard to get a listing on, and I do know that. It's even at over $200 for a listing. They will actually refuse to take your money if they don't see enough reviews already posted. It's kind of like a catch-22. And reviews keep your authors going in times of despair, she writes, which is so true. Then she goes into why do people put off leaving reviews? Well, we're all just human, except for the aliens among us, she says. Again, I'm reading Sandra's work here. And we get busy, and I agree. I mean, I'm busy. I owe reviews to author friends of mine. There's just always so much to do, but it's important. Or they've never left a review. Maybe you're a reader and you're like, I don't know what to do. And, or you're not a writer. You can't leave a review. You don't know how to do it. You hated writing books reports in school and blasted if we're going to write one now, Sandra says. Or we read the book too long ago, can't remember enough to write a decent review. Or we don't want to leave our real name out there on the internet. Well, you don't have to do any of that. So here's some tips, okay? And I'm going to free associate between her piece and my thoughts on that. But one thing, I was talking to Jason McIntyre on a previous podcast. He was on Chapter 5 and Chapter 6, by the way. And welcome to Chapter 7, which this is. And we were talking a little bit about reviews. It's like, you don't have to write a book report like in school. Nobody needs you to recite the plot of the book. Ugh, I hate reviews that it's just like, so first John Pilot was running, and then somebody shot at him, and then blah. And they just tell the whole story of the book and leave off the ending. That's not a book review. That's a book report. A book review is, I really like this character. I like this story. I didn't really care for this character. I thought this book was rushed. I thought this. Give your opinion of the book. You can do all that in 2 sentences, maybe 3. Okay, so back to what Sandra wrote. 2 or 3 sentences are fine. Yeah, very good. She's got a tip here. Look over the reviews already posted. You'll see that people focus on different things. It's all good. Well, unless people are nasty, don't be nasty, she says, and I agree. But I also say this, please, don't write a book report. Don't tell everybody the plot of the book. You can do a little of that if you want, but I say just write how it made you feel. Did it entertain you? Did you like it? Did you not? If you really didn't like it, I would say this, if you're going to really dog the book, just don't bother to write a review. But if you can write a 3, 4, or even 5-star review, go for it. Her takeaway is just 2 sentences is fine if that's all you can think of or have time for. Every time the number goes up, it helps the book and the author. That's a great point, Sandra. And then she goes through the actual steps, and I'm going to find some links. I will link to Sandra's post here, and again, I haven't asked her permission, but I hope she'll be all right with that. Hey, maybe Sandra, if you're listening, be a guest on the show. We'd love to have you. There's actual tips, but it's not hard to do. It'll walk you through it. There's also videos, YouTube video. Just Google how to leave a review on Amazon or a book review on Amazon, and you'll find all kinds of YouTube videos on how to do that. I think I've even written blog posts about it myself, and I'll see if I have, and I'll look that up as well. But I thought Sandra had written some good points here that I happen to agree with. She's the author of the awesome and award-winning middle grade series, Seed Savers. And again, she's at authorsmith.com. And Sandra, I appreciate quoting from your excellent piece on posting reviews. I hope that's all right. Okay, so that's where it is. And if you want to write a review of any of the John Pilot series, I'd be so honored. And I'll be honest, I don't have enough reviews. I think Pilot's Key has over 30. The rest of them are under 30. Ideally, I need 100 reviews of each book. And I know I've had more than 100 purchasers of each book, that's for sure, but I need 100 reviews. So if you're listening to this, I would greatly appreciate it. I know my buddy Jason McIntyre would appreciate it. I know my buddy Eden Bailey would appreciate it. We all would. We spend so much time writing these books, and we get so little financial reward. Sometimes, besides the fact that the more reviews you have, the easier it is to sell more books. It's kind of that kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. If nothing else, it keeps us going. Just to know that you appreciated the book, or you gave us some really good insight on ways we can improve our next book. Anyway, this has been Mysterious Goings On, Chapter 7. I will come up with some catchy title by the time I post this. Basically, we'll have a new chapter or episode every Friday, so I appreciate you for tuning in and for listening. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm on the Twitter at @A_Greenwood, or go to my blog, the Clues blog, at pilotscross.com. That's pilatescross.com, pilotscross.com. And I'd love to hear your comments, or just tweet at me. And of course, my books are all available. The John Pilot mysteries are Pilot's Cross, Pilot's Key, Pilot's Ghost, Pilot's Blood, Pilot's 7, and I have numerous short stories out there as well. You can just search my name, J. Alexander Greenwood. You know how I got that name now. On Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks, blah, 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 blah. Okay, enough of that. Thanks so much for listening, and as always, keep reading.
Between prepping ingredients, setting the table, and planning your tomorrow, sometimes you need an extra hand with dinner. Delta Faucet is here to help. Just ask your connected home device to fill your pasta pot with Delta Faucet Voice IQ technology and fill it with the perfect amount of water. Done. Visit deltafaucet.com/voiceIQ to see how Voice IQ can fill your dog's bowl, wash your hands, and more.
Get a credit card that gives you what you need now. A low interest rate on everyday purchases and a place to transfer high interest rate balances. The PenFed Gold Contactless Card is our lowest interest rate credit card. You can even earn a $100 statement credit when you spend $1,500 in the first 90 days. Join PenFed, and together we can help you keep more of what's yours. Visit penfed.org/goldcard. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.